Perfect.
Welcome back to the Rangeless Travel Podcast. We're your favorite adventure travel hosts. I'm Britt, and this is Ryan. Together, we travel the world by plane, train, and '89 Ford Sportsmobile, capturing the beauty, adventure, and culture in every corner of the globe. Currently, we're traveling the U.S. in an old van with our two dogs, Layla and Cedar. Every Tuesday, we share stories and tips to inspire you to book that next trip. So go ahead and don't be shy. Follow along with us at Rangeless_ on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Let's dive in. Episode of the Rangeless Travel Podcast, we are giving you the ultimate guide to the island of Siargao in the Philippines.
Yeah.
If you saw our guide to Cebu, you know that I like to start with a little bit of history of the place it is you're going. So we're going to start with a little bit of the history of Siargao, because let's be real, if you're traveling to a place, don't you kind of like want to know
a little bit of,
like a little bit. I think it's important. To know, because it gives you an understanding of the culture, the food, you know, everything, the language, you know, kind of the mentality of the people there. It gives you a little insight into what's going on. So Siargao is located on the outskirts of the Philippines, and it covers 169 square miles, and then it has a bunch of smaller islands, like all around it. And it's been occupied for like hundreds and hundreds of years by multiple different groups. The most prominent of the groups were the Mamanguais people.
We think we're saying that right.
Yeah.
If we're not, please correct us.
Yeah, please tell me how to say it. But these people are known for having a really deep connection with nature and the earth. These people for literally hundreds of years spent their days hunting, fishing, in agriculture. Yeah. Just like being with nature. And then the Spanish showed up. And pre-Spanish,
it's hard to find, at least for us, it's hard to find any sources
Spaniards.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really hard to find any information just readily available, you know, about the ancient people and the ancient tribes of Siargao. But the sad thing is, like, that's not unique to Siargao. Like, a lot of places that have a history of colonization, the history in the textbooks and the history that's readily available from, you know, any kind of search, or even like a search of like books about it, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be starting at the point of colonization. Like the amount of websites and articles, even like government website articles, like reputable sources are saying like the Spaniards in 1542, the Spaniards in 1542, the Spaniards in 1542, like everything. And like that was the point in which the easily accessible history of Siargao starts for internet research.
Yes.
So we, particularly me, I would love to know more about the ancient people of the island, the ancient tribes of the island, what was going on in that island before the Spanish got there. Like, I know the indigenous people were there. I know that there were multiple groups of people. I'm assuming that there was not much of a written
No, it's probably oral
language. I'm assuming that it was mostly oral, and that's why we don't get that history. But I know it's there, and I know that the people have a lot of these stories. I'm sure a lot of it has dissolved into history, as many things do, but I just know. So if anyone has some really good book recommendations on the ancient peoples of Siargao, please share it with us. Yeah. As we do know, the Spaniards showed up in 1542. And when they showed up, they did the same thing they did everywhere they show up. They were like, you're going to take our language now. You're going to
take our religion.
You're going to take our customs, and we want the culture. Of course, there is a certain level of, you know, fusion happening, and there's trading back and forth.
They're going to bring the fiestas. They're going to bring fancy clothes and stuff.
Yeah. And there's definitely trading back and forth. Like, some of the people that are there, they're going to be influenced by the locals that are there. But it's the, you know, the story that happens over and over and over again with colonization. Then the Spaniards there for hundreds of years, and then we see the Japanese occupation with World War II, and then the Americans showed up, and then World War II happened.
And then World War II happened.
Japanese
showed up. And then the Philippines got its independence after World War II.
And then in the 80s,
the
surfers showed up. And they discovered Siargao and the amazing surf breaks that are all over this island. That literally the geography of the island is set up for like perfect surf waves.
Absolutely, yeah. The smaller islands that Britt mentioned earlier are basically all on the south or the west side of the island, but Siargao itself is all the way on the eastern seaboard of the Philippines. And just off the coast of the Philippines, off the coast of Siargao, is the Philippine Trench, which is a deep, deep body of water where the waves that come in, they get all their power from that deep body of water. And then just as they come up onto the shores of Siargao, it gets really shallow. So and that's where the waves get really tall. And that's where you get the really good surf breaks. Now, the surfers showed up in the 1980s. They were just traveling bands of surfers that went around the world doing like surfing, obviously. But it wasn't really like a hot spot yet.
Because it's hard to get to.
Yes. Until Surfer Magazine released the top 10 in the world surf trips and put Siargao in at, I think it was number 9.
Yeah.
In top 10 in the world. And after that, it exploded. Everyone was coming, trying to see this new spot that is some of the best surf in the world.
Yeah.
And still, till this day, people are still going to Siargao in droves.
For surfing. Yeah. Not as much as they once did.
No.
But it's building back up. And there's a couple reasons for this. It's because it was really hard to get to Siargao. So unless you were very adamant about going there, it was like, it's more than just like a little surf trip. Like it's like a whole adventure in itself to just get there in years past. So it was only like the surfers that were professional surfers because they'd have the time, the resources, the money to get there.
Yeah.
Then it was more accessible because so many tourists were coming in and they were like, we need to make this more accessible for tourists. So they started building the more direct flights.
Yes, so there's a bigger infrastructure. They've upgraded the airport, and obviously the roads too on the island have been upgraded. Nice. Their roads are really good, and they've just put in, I believe, as of last year, October last year, they put in a cruise terminal for smaller cruise ships to land on Siargao, which is I imagine it's going to boost tourism a lot.
Yeah.
And
there are also more direct flights now. Like there is a direct flight from
Manila and from
Cebu. Yeah.
Which is like an hour, 2 hours flight. There are still prop planes, mind you, because the runway is not that big. So you're still on like a 40-seater prop plane, but there's daily flights, which is nice. The only thing is getting to Siargao. Flights is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, you can take a ferry.
You can take a ferry.
But
the only thing is, if you're getting a flight, get the morning flight.
Yeah.
Because we've heard that the runway doesn't have night lights for late landings. So like sometimes the afternoon flights get canceled because there's no lights on the runway and they can't land. Yeah. So to avoid that, go in the morning. I don't know if that's changed in recent months, but that's what I heard.
Recently, I read that there's an initiative right now, and it was approved that they are going to put in funding and some sort of funding to put in those lights so that they can expand their flying hours and bring more and more flights in. And they're making improvements to not just the lights, but like they want to make an addition to the airport itself and extend
the runway.
The runway. Yeah, the runway so bigger planes can come in just to increase the tourism.
That's great.
Yeah.
There is another way to get to Siargao, but we wouldn't recommend it. There's a night ferry from Cebu.
Yeah.
I think it's all night. But unless you're like really want the experience, I wouldn't recommend it. It's the same price as flying, and it takes you so long, and the weather could be bad, or it's.
If you want the experience of taking a night ferry in the Philippines, then take the night ferry. If you're just trying to get to Cebu and it's not your journey, it is your destination, then take the flight. So it's because you're not going to save that much money, and you're not really going to save time either way. No. Like either way, it's going to be an all-day ordeal. So just like do whatever you're more comfortable with.
Yeah. Now, once you get to Siargao, getting around Siargao is pretty easy.
Well, once you land in the airport or you get off the ferry, you immediately have to pay an environmental tax.
Yes, there is going to be
So you have to make sure you have some Philippine pesos. If you don't, I know at least the airport, there's an ATM right.
There is an ATM,
there's
but
an
the
ATM
line
right
can be
there.
long and
the line
might run out of money.
Yeah, the line can be
happen,
really long, and it does often run out of money because people show up and they don't have any small pesos and they can't pay the environmental fee. So yeah, so it can be a little bit put you in a little bit of sticky situation. So
just bring pesos with
you.
Yeah,
show up there with some pesos and some small denominations, so there's no headache. And then to leave the airport, you're probably staying in General Luna.
Yes.
Because pretty much everyone stays in General Luna because that's the main road is literally called Tourism Road. That's where all the tourists are staying. Unless you're
looking for a particular surf break like Pacifico Beach.
And then you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
But, you're probably going to stay in and around General Luna. So there's two options. Well, I guess there's three options. You can take a private taxi. They're going to be sitting outside the terminal. Or a trike. It's kind of far for a trike. There's usually just like taxi cars sitting outside. Or you can jump in one of the shared vans. The vans are going to go into General Luna. You're going to tell them where your accommodation is. They're going to drop you off somewhere by it. We went with neither.
I pre-booked a scooter rental.
Yeah,
before
and
we got
picked it up
there.
at the
and
airport.
Picked it up. The guy met us at the airport, and we got a scooter. I would not recommend what we did because
I would recommend what we did.
You would?
Yeah.
We went a bit too hard, I think.
We just budgeted too hard and just got one bike, no surf rack, all of our bags.
And us. It was comical.
Everyone was staring at us. The people were like,
Even the guy we were renting it from, he's like, are you sure?
And we were like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. See, it would have been like much better, but of course it started raining because we were there.
Downpoured.
We were there in the shoulder season of monsoon season. So I would say if you're going to Siargao, don't go in the shoulder seasons. Don't go in the off season. Go in
the dry
season, which is
it's April till September.
Yeah.
And I think the best waves are probably towards the end of that.
Yeah.
For if you're really looking for big waves, it's towards the end of that.
So you don't get rained on. So we did not heed that advice, and we went right at the tail end of rainy season, and we got dumped on.
Yeah.
Dumped on.
On the way to General Luna, which is probably like a 45-minute ride.
Yeah, so it was a decent ride, and we just got dumped on.
Yeah.
And we had to so bad, like we had to pull over at a gas station and like
hide under the cover.
Yeah, because it was just torrential downpours.
Yeah.
But if it was nice, I would totally recommend doing that. And if you were like...
no, here's what I would recommend. I would recommend you get two bikes.
Yeah, everybody get their own bike.
Per person.
Everyone gets their own bike.
And get a surf rack on your bike.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we'd recommend.
But I would recommend getting it at the airport.
But get it from the airport. It saves you the transfer cost of like paying for taxi.
And it was like $1 cheaper a day. It was
you
like
can get to the airport whenever your flight is and just drop it off again. And it's a lot easier.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anyone else's time.
And we saved money. It was I think it was 350 pesos. It was like $6-7 a day. And anywhere in General Luna, the prices were a little bit more expensive. So I would just tweak what we did a little bit. I wouldn't change it completely. Where to stay now? Obviously,
General Luna.
We've mentioned General Luna
or
and Pacifico Beach. That's it.
Unless there's anything else that you're specifically going for. Yeah.
Yeah. How long to stay in Siargao?
Siargao is one of those places that backpackers mention all the time that they just get stuck in. They're like, yep, was supposed to go for a week, stayed there a month. Or I stayed there a month and then I was trying to extend my visa to the Philippines without leaving, and then I couldn't get it extended, so I had to leave. But if it wasn't for that, I would still be there.
Yeah.
It's one of those places you get stuck in Siargao. So I would say absolute minimum, you have to stay a week.
Yes.
Minimum, you have to stay a week. But I would say maximum, as long as your trip allows you to.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. You're going to book a week, and then you're going to extend it.
Yeah.
You're going to extend it. Everyone extends by a couple days at minimum. Mm-hmm. Just because it's such a nice place to be. And especially when you're, like, Siargao is one of those spots, like, when you've been backpacking for so long, it's like a welcome retreat that, like, everything's, like, within... It's like a relaxed beach town, but also everything, like, all your creature comforts are still there. And then there's, like, also things that you can go off and do day trips for. So, like... There's plenty to do, and It's just addictive. It's like
It's just good. It's good vibes.
Really good. It's really good vibes.
It's good vibes. You're gonna love it. So stay for as long as your trip allows you to.
Yeah. Now, food on Siargao.
Well, we got to start with local food because I am the biggest proponent and I will die on this hill. If you go somewhere, you eat the food the people there eat.
Yeah.
Like, do not go somewhere and be like, I'll just have the chicken tenders. No, you stop that. No. You are an adult.
No dino nuggies.
No dino nuggies for you. You are a grown up. Eat all your things. Try the things. Not everything has to be your favorite.
No.
You can go within your own comfort zone. But like
at least try
some local food. Especially in the Philippines. Because guess what? The food is freaking delicious. The food's delicious. So try it.
Yeah. Probably our most frequented spot that we went to was JM Carindera.
Well, you want to look for Carandinas. You want to look for Carandinas as a general statement.
Right.
So the Carandinas are going to be almost like a fast food buffet situation.
Yeah.
So you're going to pull up, there's going to be a lot of different options. They're going to be usually like an indoor-outdoor situation, or sometimes they're all the way indoors. There's going to be like different like levels of Carandinas. Some of them are like super, super fancy. Some of them are super rustic, but you're going to want to look for the Carandinas because that's where locals are eating. That's the style in which people are like picking up breakfast on their way to work. It's where people are picking up lunch on their work breaks. It's where people are picking up dinner on their way home. So they are a part of the culture. Look for the Carandinas. Yes. There are a lot right in General Luna, but they're all over.
They're all over.
But we had a favorite.
It was JM Carindera.
Yeah. And the Tuna
Road is right next door to it. They're both right next to each other.
And we ate at both all the time.
Every day we ate at least once at one of them.
Yeah. It was it's a great breakfast, lunch spot, and dinner spot.
It's a huge choice, really affordable, and the food that you get every day isn't always the same every day.
Yeah, that's the good thing too, because they're gonna have usually a lot of options. So it allows you to try a little bit of the different dishes that a place has. Some of our favorites were they had vegetable curry.
The veggie curry was really good.
So good. They had this like coconut soup. So good.
I remember you had a conch.
I loved it. I was like, why don't we have these every day?
Yeah.
They were so good. Ryan didn't like it.
It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite, but you loved it.
I loved it. It was so good. I loved the veggie curry. I had that every day. Oh, they have spring rolls. Lots of spring rolls. Yeah. They're crispy, crunchy, delicious. There's tons of different curries, tons of different like brothy, meaty vegetables, a lot of fish, with rice,
a lot of meat, a lot of fish,
a lot of veg.
Yeah.
And if you're like vegetarian or something, you're gonna have no problem with the local food.
Yeah.
There's a ton of vegetarian options, a ton of veggie curries.
Yeah. It's really good. And then another spot in General Luna which is quite special, I thought, was Bulalo An is the name of the restaurant, and they serve bulalo.
It's so good.
It's really, really good.
It's like a beef bone broth soup.
Yeah.
It's so
good.
Good. And it was like unlimited broth.
Unlimited rice.
That's what it was. Unlimited rice. So you ordered this giant bowl. Like we could have just split one. We got one beef and then one vegan, and the vegan one was like a mung bean soup, which was
really good.
So good.
So satisfying.
Oh, it was so good. And again, a vegan option, super easy. Like
and we also got spring rolls there. They were delicious.
And that was everything on the menu.
Yeah,
we got everything on the menu.
They specialized in this, and they did it really, really well. And they also had the coldest beers. They had the Red Horses in the freezer. You take them out, and they're all icy. It's so good.
They were really good. I highly recommend that spot. And I thought it was really cool because, like, when you drove by in the afternoon, because they're just open for dinner, when you drive by, they made it like in pots right in the front. Yeah. So you'd see these big pots like bubbling away all day.
Cauldrons just bubbling, and
and that marketing works on me. That marketing is like, of course I'm going there.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
It was really good. Really, really good. And then also another good spot that has local food. If you're going up north and doing like Magbapunko or any of the adventures in the north.
We'll go deeper into what adventures are.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that in a few minutes. But the main turnoff from the road from General Luna to Dapa, there's a turnoff that goes up north. And just after that turnoff, on the right-hand side is Rudolph's Eatery.
Oh, yeah, and it was all you can eat.
For 199 pesos.
Yeah, and it was... that's the best fried chicken I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was so good. But they had so many things. They had like curries and veg and fish and chicken, and they had fruit, all the fruit cut up. They had dessert. It was so good. It
was delicious.
Yeah, we pulled in and like at the end of a really long day exploring, and it was the perfect spot to just like chow down because we're starving after like a big day of adventuring, and it was delicious. It was very well priced. The family was in there and they were really nice. They were like bringing more bringing more stuff out for us. Like it was just it was a really, really good.
And speaking of, you said fresh fruit, one of the like Siargao is known for its like coconuts.
Yeah.
It's the whole island's covered in coconut trees, and Coco Frio.
Oh yeah.
In General Luna has the frozen coconuts iced, and you just drink it right out of the coconut. Yeah, you can. It's so
they
good.
have it a couple ways. We had ice cream there, which was like coconut ice cream, which was really good, and then just like the cold coconuts.
Yeah, but they do run out of the cold coconuts, so
they do.
Yeah, they run out, and then you don't get them.
And then speaking of the fresh coconuts, they also have like fruit stands, like right in town. And I recommend either like picking up some sort of just like little paring knife or something, like some sort of little knife, so you can stop at the little fruit stands, like the bananas, the passion fruit, the dragon fruits. Even they have like oranges. Depending on the season, they'll have different stuff. But it's really nice and convenient to be able to pick up some fresh local fruit from one of the little local fruit stands and bring it back to your room and be able to snack on some fruit, or like bring it to the beach with you, or pack it up for an adventure. It's just really nice. And then if you're looking for a little bit bigger of a supermarket, right outside of General Luna, there is like a huge warehouse supermarket that you can go to and do like a grocery shop. So if you rent a lot of places in General Luna, because there's a lot of expats there, you can rent like full villas with a kitchen and like a full apartment. You can rent those. They're very easy to find for rent, no matter how long you're staying. So a lot of people opt for that. You can go and like stock up, and then do a lot of like at-home cooking. Or if you're traveling with your family and you have kids, have like the basics in the fridge, so you don't have to worry about it. Even breakfast, I like to like have breakfast stuff wherever I'm staying.
What we do a lot of times is we'll get pot noodle.
Yeah.
Like get ready-made pot noodles, and just it's easy if you're just like looking for a quick snack, something to tide you over.
Yeah, and then we also do a lot of like bread with like banana and peanut butter, or eggs, like a little egg sandwich if we have access to a kitchen. We do a lot of like eggs. Nothing, you don't have to get anything crazy, but I think it's a cool experience to go to the supermarket, because the people there, it's all locals. Like there wasn't any other like expats or tourists there when we were in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of just cool to go and experience in and of itself, and then it's also like super practical. Yeah. We went for hair conditioner.
We did, and we got toothpaste and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think it was called Pure Gold, and it was on the main road between Dapa and General Luna again. But if you're looking for something a little bit more authentic and you're looking to do a bit of food shopping, there is the market, the fresh market, down by the pier in General Luna, which has all the fish caught that day, and there's also a lot of fruit down there too, which is really, really cool.
And a lot of times at the fruit market, at the fish stands and stuff, if you, like, some of them will cook the fish for you.
Yeah.
Or they'll like point you in a direction where you can bring your fish to that restaurant, and that restaurant will cook your fish for you.
Yeah.
So you just like ask them if there's somewhere, if they'll cook it for you, if they know someone. They'll know someone. They'll have a cousin that will cook it for you.
And then also there's a lot of Western options.
Oh yeah, there's tons.
You're spoiled for choice, really.
Whatever it is that you're like having like a hankering for, they're gonna have it. Like, but like even they had like sushi, like Japanese restaurants, because there was Japanese occupation, so there is the Japanese influence there. I saw Korean restaurants. I saw pizza. The pizza was so good.
Yeah, they had taco trucks. They got Mexican restaurants. They got everything. The Kermit for the pizza, it is a little bit pricey. They're like $6.50 a piece, pesos a pizza, but they're so good. It's one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
It's so good. It was like a wood fire, like Italian pizza oven.
It was so good. Really, really good. And there's a nice pool there too. So if you get pizzas, you can use the pool afterwards or before, or whatever. Yeah, as long as
Goodies.
Goodies
is really good.
Really, really good. There's a lot of food options at Goodies. Also, the Whitebeard Cafe for breakfast is really good.
Also, Shaka for smoothie bowls is really good.
Yeah.
If you drive around Tourism Road. There is going to be so many restaurants that it's quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's going to be super local to like very upscale and everything in between. So honestly, I would say keep your choices kind of open and just kind of like see what calls to you and go there from there.
Yeah, for me, at least the closest place that I could like compare it to would be like Canggu in Bali, but way less built up and way less traffic. So it's like a light version of Canggu, I think. But still, you have all the options.
But like bigger than Kuta Lumpur.
Yeah, way bigger than Kuta Lumpur. Way bigger than Kuta Lumpur. We're moving on to the thing that really brings everyone to Siargao.
Activities.
And surfing is probably
the number one
thing.
The number one thing that people are going to Siargao for is to go surfing. People want to go there that have no surfing experience and they want to surf. People go there that are literally professional surfers.
Yeah, there's a yearly tournament there that's like pro level surfing on Cloud9. Cloud9 is the famous spot with the like pier overlooking the surf break that they're currently rebuilding.
Yeah, after
Odette wiped it out.
Which is a typhoon, which is like, it's like a hurricane.
Yeah. It was a super typhoon.
Yeah.
And Cloud9 is a big wave. It's a huge wave with a rocky, corally, hard bottom. Like, it is for professionals and experts.
And then they take out people who never surfed before, and they're like, yeah, let's go. And you're like, oh.
That's not where you want to go if you're going to go surfing for a beginner. You want to go to either Jacking Horse, which is around the corner. You can look at Cloud9 from there. It's just around the corner. The easiest place is like search for Kokomo restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And
search
then you
for
can
Kokomo.
walk in there, and there's a bunch of instructors there. They'll approach you. And then you're like, are you looking for lessons?
Yeah.
It's like 500 pesos per lesson, 200 just to rent a board if you're down there. You can get better deals renting the board for longer.
Multiple
That's why we
days,
say to carry the surf rack on each person's bike, because then you can just rent the board for as long as you're there, and it's a lot cheaper.
And then you also have the freedom to like move around to whatever beach you want to go to, because there's more than just that beach.
There is.
But at Jacking Horse, you can go search up Kokomo, go down, but there's also little places with lockers down there.
Yes.
So if you're going by yourself and you have an instructor, there are lockers that you can rent and lock your stuff up, which is I like that. So
that's good. Yeah. And there's a bunch of instructors there, and they will take you to different spots if you ask them. You're like, because another one that's good for beginners is Secret Beach.
I would recommend if you are a beginner surfer, go to Secret Beach.
Yes.
I grew up surfing as a kid. I am not good. I'm actually very, very not good. But I've done it my whole life. And I would just say, like, as someone who's been around the ocean, if you are wanting to learn, I would recommend going down, look up Kokomo, go down to that area, find all the instructors. Or ask in your accommodation for an instructor who's a good instructor. Ask other people in your accommodation if they've taken surf lessons, who they've liked, if they've liked their instructor, and find someone who's good that you connect with. Because a good surf instructor is makes the biggest difference in the whole world. Yeah. And they will probably take you to Secret Beach.
Because it's a sandy bottom, so you're less likely to get hurt.
Yeah, it's just a little bit easier.
It's more comfortable. There's no urchins or anything you might be standing on.
Yeah, you should be okay there. I mean, you'll be okay at the other place too, but the other one might be a more enjoyable experience. It's just a little bit of a ride out. But your instructor will probably pick you up at your accommodation if you ask, and will drive you out, and you just hop on the back of their bike. Yeah,
but now, surfing isn't the only thing to do on Siargao.
There's so many things.
In fact, you could go to Siargao for a month and never surf.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things to do. Like the Mason River swing. There's like this huge, like the swing actually isn't there anymore. They got rid of the swing because it was damaging the tree.
Well, that and when Odette came, apparently it like
shifted the tree.
So the tree's
at danger of falling into the river, so they stopped the swing. But now they built a giant diving platform, and there's a raft that like takes you down the river. You can go on the little boats, and like
it's beautiful.
Apparently there's a small like marsh down there where there's mini pigs and stuff. That's what I heard.
Oh.
But we didn't go because it was more expensive.
And we were I was having enough fun. We did so many things the day we went there, so I was happy to just jump off the little platform.
Yeah. And then 6 minutes from there, there's the
Coconut Road.
Coconut Road, which is beautiful.
Which is beautiful. And then 2 minutes from there is the viewing platform.
That's right. For the whole coconut
area.
Forest. It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah, and then, which is really, really, really beautiful. And then not far from there, like a few minutes down the road from there, is the Tayangban cave pool.
Oh, that was so cool.
Which is like
Ryan's worst fear.
It was my worst fear.
And then he liked it the most.
I was like, oh yeah, it's a cave pool. Like there's gonna be like a pool where you swim in it, and then there's a cave right next to it, and then like that's it.
That was not it.
No.
It was such a cool experience. So it's like privately owned. Like it's like a family run cave exploration situation. So you pull up. And there's like this little hut. You go up to the little hut. There's going to be someone there. There's going to be like a bunch of like young dudes like hanging out outside. Yeah. You're going to talk to, I think there was a woman back there. You're going to talk to her. She's going to set you up with a guide. You have to have a guide. You're going to want the guide. You're not even going to care. You want the guide and you have to get one.
You have to. Yeah.
You have to. So you pay your fee to go in, which was not much. It was like a few bucks. They're going to set you up. You get a helmet. You get like a head torch. You get a life vest. And you're like, did you get a life vest? No life vest. Never mind. I'm lying to you. You just get a head torch and a helmet. And then they take you to this like little opening, and you just like go into this cave.
Yeah, you have to climb in through the water and hold onto this rope to get into the cave. And then you're like climbing across rafts across the deep water, and then like squeezing through little crevices and like climbing over rocks and everything in the complete pitch black.
I loved it.
It was wild.
I loved it. And then at the end, you get to the end, and again they have like a swing and they have like a jumping platform, and you can jump off and you swim in the water and you play in the water for a bit, and then you pop back up and tip your guide.
It was great.
It was great. It was so much fun. I think it was one of my favorite like random little adventures.
Yeah.
It was so much cooler than I thought it was going to be.
And we weren't expecting it at all. Then also just beyond that is the Magpapunko rock pools, which if you're going up north, the Magpapunko rock pools is what you need to base your entire day around if you want to hit them, because they are tidal pools and you have to get there an hour before low tide. If you get there like we did an hour after low tide, you're going to get about 5 minutes in the pools before you were blown out by the tides.
Yeah, they have and it's serious. So they have lifeguards out there. They're blowing their whistles. There's people out there because the rip is so strong. Like I jumped in, like I'm a strong swimmer, and I could feel it like pulling me out, and it's hard.
It's gonna just push you wherever, and you can't fight against it.
You can't fight it, and with all the rocks and everything there, like you can't. Like they're not gonna let you, and like you can't. So plan your whole day around it. You're gonna go to that first, and you want to get there
before an hour before low tide.
Yeah, so you can really enjoy it.
But having said that, that beach is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, you can spend a whole day.
You can spend a whole day there. It's not that expensive. It's like 50 pesos entry and then 20 pesos for parking.
I'd plan to at least spend a couple hours there.
Yes. The beach is beautiful. The rock pools are absolutely gorgeous. And then there's food that you can get there too on the beach. You could spend a whole day there if you wanted.
There's and it's families there. Like there's families that go there, like local families. So it's not just all tourists. There's going to be people there spending the whole day.
Right. On the way there, as a side quest, there's a marsh.
I love a side quest. Oh, this is a good side quest, yeah.
There's a marsh on the way there on the side of the road with a sign up. And there's live crocodiles in the marsh.
Yeah.
Live crocodiles. Because there's crocodiles
on Siargao, yeah. The biggest one ever found was found deceased.
14
feet.
14 foot 9 inches in Del Carmen.
Which is on the other...
It's on the west side.
Yeah, the other side. But still.
Yeah.
But still. If they're there, I don't know. Every time we kept jumping into the Mason River, I kept thinking, well, if there's... Like, my mom lived in Florida. Yeah. So, like, it was always, like, the thing, like, if there's gators or crocs in the water, there's other gators and crocs in all the water. So I'm just like, they come down this river. They come down this river. I just know it. But I'm still jumping it. Just like Florida.
Yeah. Passing on up north from Magpapunko, there is also Pacifico Beach, which is absolutely beautiful beach. But it's quite an advanced surf break there, too, for like the more advanced surfers there.
But it's also just a beautiful beach to go to.
An absolutely gorgeous
beach. If you've done any sort of like online, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTubing of this area, you're going to know it from the lighthouse.
Yes.
That all of the influencers go to. This lighthouse is no longer like that. I know the history of the Pacifico Beach Lighthouse. So the military built it like 10 or so years ago, and then kind of just like stopped funding it. And then like it just kind of started going into disarray. It is the only lighthouse on Siargao.
Yeah.
I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But it is the only lighthouse on Siargao. And they just stopped funding it. It started going into disarray, and there was nothing built in the area at the time. So when some of these backpackers and influencers and other people who were traveling there found it, they were taking these like beautiful shots. More people started coming. It started to become a liability because it was rusting out.
Yeah.
Anything by the beach, if you're not from the beach, like you don't know, but if you're from the beach, like you know, everything rusts, and it rusts fast. So everything started rusting. Then Odette came through.
Yeah.
And now it kind of like made it unsafe.
Yeah, the handrail was ripped off. And like it's not safe.
It's not safe anymore. You cannot climb up it. Do not climb up it. But I think it's a foreign couple have came in. They're not Filipinos. They came in and they've developed that area. They built like a beautiful an accommodation. There's a restaurant. There's an infinity pool.
Yeah, it's called Trogon's Perch. It's really, really
It's really nice.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and if you go in and like have lunch, you can swim in their pool.
Yeah.
And you're like overlooking the Pacifico Beach and overlooking the ocean, and you're looking at this lighthouse. That could be a whole day trip all in itself. It's
absolutely
beautiful. It's really beautiful. And it's a combination. You could even stay there if you got the budget for it.
Yeah. And then the last couple things on the north side of Siargao is all the way up at the tippy top is Alegria Beach, which is a really, really nice beach. It's much quieter than all the other beaches towards the south. It's less trafficked. Huge beach. Very, very nice. And gorgeous. Like a nice spot to hang out. And only 5 minutes away from there is the Tac Tac Falls, which is
loved Tac Tac Falls.
One of our favorite waterfalls that we've ever been to.
It wasn't super crowded. It wasn't even like a particularly impressive waterfall, but it is the only waterfall in Siargao.
Yes.
And it was. I like places that are a little bit of everyone's there. Like there's going to be like local families there just enjoying it. There's going to be some tourists there enjoying it. Like it's just everybody is enjoying it. Like it's not just for one group of people. Those are the kind of places I really like in Tac Tac Falls is like that. And you can climb up and jump off.
In, and you're allowed to swimming under it. It's good. There's a little shop there. You can get some snacks if you need them. It's really, really nice.
It's really nice. Again, you can plan to spend an hour there. You could plan to spend half a day there.
Yeah. Again, whatever you want to do, it's there.
Yeah.
Some of the trips out of Siargao are, one of the highlights for us was definitely Sohoton Cove. Really, really cool. If you time it right, you can get
You can swim with the stingless jellyfish.
Yes.
There will be like millions of them out there.
In this one lagoon,
and you go swimming with them. It's the last thing you do on this tour. When we went, we saw two.
We timed it a little too early.
We saw two jellyfish. So instead of like swimming through like millions of them, it was just me and Ryan. And two jellyfish.
Bit disappointing. But one of the cool things about there was there's underwater caves that you like swim down into. And then
it's brackish water, so it's fresh water meaning the salt water.
Yeah.
And then the fresh water is also geothermal, so it's coming up from underneath the sand, and it's heated by the geothermal energy, so from the energy of the Earth's core. So it comes up hot like a hot tub, and then the top is cold, which if you swim a lot, usually the top is hot from the sun, and the bottom is cold because it doesn't get the sunlight to heat it up.
Right.
But this is the opposite, so it really is kind of like like you're kind of like at least for me, I'm like, no, it's supposed to be hot at the top, but no, it gets hotter as you go from the bottom, and you can see it in the water. So if you open your eyes or you have swimming goggles on, like a mask, as you swim down, it will go from like hazy because the salt's in the water, and then as you get down and down and down, it gets more clear because then the bottom is fresh water. So it's a very cool experience. I loved it so much. And then that was like the first or second stop or something. Then you stop at another stop and you do this like little hike. And you jump off at the end, and I love a good jumping off point.
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh, I get to jump.
And you jump off.
It was cool. Like
And
You stop for lunch.
The food on the tours in the Philippines.
Philippine tour lunches are the best tour lunches that you will get in the whole world. No one's giving you a better tour lunch than in the Philippines.
There are a huge spread of like seafood, rice, fresh fruit, noodles,
every kind of seafood, every kind of meat, pork, chicken.
They'll spell out a huge like Sohoton Cove in the food and put it on this massive table, and everyone like
flowers just to make it pretty.
No
one does a spread like the Philippines do a spread.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and that place was really cool too. They had like a giant diving board situation. They had like these slides that like I don't know if you can still use them or not, but like they're there. But if you want to see the jellyfish, what was it, April?
We went in February. If we waited an extra month, we would have probably been there in the big balloon.
That's also dry season. So if the jellyfish are something you want to see and you want to go during dry season, April is so you could do both.
There is a couple of things that we didn't do that we didn't get the chance to do. There's Siargao Lagoon, which is up more towards Del Carmen area on the west side, and there's
Del Carmen is where the
big crocodiles
are, but also a lot of the mangroves are, and the mangroves is how Siargao got its name, because it was like Siargao with a W is a type of mangrove that grows
on
Siargao. But there's a bunch of them over in Del Carmen with the giant crocodile.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. I got excited.
Siargao Lagoon is like, again, it's a day trip. You can go swimming in the lagoons. There's a bunch of places to jump off. You're going to get a good lunch, all of that. And then there's a wake park.
Yeah, there's a wakeboard park.
It's like on the road where you turn off from Dapa and General Luna, you turn off north. It's up there, but we just didn't get the chance to go.
And it's like a tow. And then it was one of our watchers just commented there's also like a shooting range, like a rifle thing, like a shooting range, and it's right by the wakeboard park.
Okay. So there's pretty much everything you could want to do on like an adventure holiday or world travel is in Siargao.
And that is it for this week. If you want more from us, you can find us at Rangeless_ on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. And that's it. Until next week.
Bye.